In a game that was ugly, in a game that everything seemed to go wrong in the beginning for the Eagles, in a game where it seemed like the Eagles were letting a great opportunity slip through their hands, the Eagles found a way to get the job done against the Washington football team. And thanks to some help later on in the day to the San Francisco 49ers and the Green Bay Packers, the Eagles were able to punch their ticket to the postseason. Now, I do apologize for this video being so late. The reason why it's so late is, one, I've been under the weather this past week, so I've been a little lacking of energy recently. And I also wanted to wait for all the results to come through so I could do a reaction to the game and also a little bit of a playoff thoughts on the Eagles actually making the playoffs this season. So, first off, let's jump into the game. Now, as I said earlier, that first half has been like all the first halves have been for the past few weeks. The Eagles got off to a slow start. They couldn't do anything right. They couldn't get any momentum going, specifically on the defensive side of the ball. I mean, in that first half, Taylor Heinicke looked like Joe Montana. He had all day to throw. He was escaping defenders. He was hitting guys wide open. And the Eagles couldn't do anything to stop him. It was ridiculous. Once again, this Eagles defense refused to bring pressure against quarterbacks and give him all day to make all these throws. And that's what Taylor Heinicke did. The Eagles rushed forward. Taylor Heinicke sat back there, had all day to throw, and he made every play possible in that first half. And it's ironic that there's been a lot of information out there saying, well, the Eagles have a top 10 defense. The Eagles have a top 10 defense. I'm sorry, did that look like a top 10 defense out there to you? Because it didn't to me. That's not a top 10 defense. If you're letting Taylor Heinicke only have 2 incompletions and a half, that's asinine. You can't do that. You cannot allow that to happen. It was just, especially when they're starting running backs out. And they were running the football on the Eagles too. It wasn't just they were passing the football. They were having an effective running game on the Eagles too. The Eagles defense today came out flat as can be. No motivation, no nothing. They looked dead. And it wasn't just them. The offense looked dead too. But before I go to the offense, I will say when the second half did come around, the Eagles defense did start to bring pressure, especially on third downs. I mean, a couple of their real big pressures and stops on third down in the second half were off blitzes by Jannard Avery, and then Josh Sweat was freed up on one as well. Both were big sacks, both stopped Washington drives. And the Eagles defense, to their credit, as much as I rip them apart for not being good, which I still don't think they are, they were able to shut out Washington in the second half. All of Washington's points came in the first half. The Eagles effectively shut them out in the second half of the game, which is a big reason why the Eagles ended up winning this football game. Now, I know I sound like a broken record on this, but it's the same issue for the Eagles defense every week. When they've been on this winning streak, they have gone against subpar quarterbacks, and they feasted on them. They have feasted on sub-average quarterbacks during their winning streak. When you're going in the playoffs, which the Eagles are a playoff team now, they're going to be facing above-average quarterbacks from here on out. You can't do what you've been doing. You can't do it. You got to be able to get pressure on these guys. That is the only way you're going to be able to stop these above-average quarterbacks. You got to get in their face and make them scared, make them panic, make them throw the football sooner than they're ready to. And that's when they make mistakes. And the fact of the matter is, this Eagles defense is content by death by 1,000 paper cuts. They're content with that. And it drives me insane, and I'm tired of it. I hate this defense. I hate their scheme. I hate their mentality. It is infuriating to see a defense so complacent on just playing back in zone defense and letting a quarterback pick you apart. Even the last drive, when Washington was showing that they could drive it and they had a chance to win, the Eagles were playing back. They weren't getting any pressure on Heinicke. He was able to drop back and do whatever he wanted. The only benefit the Eagles had, Heinicke overthrew the tight end on the last play, and Rodney McLeod came out with a great interception. And that's how the Eagles won the game, was on the diving interception. But when you're in the postseason, you can't rely on that to happen every play. You can't. You're going to be going against guys like Aaron Rodgers, Kyler Murray, and Dak Prescott, and they're going to make you pay. And I'm sure a lot of these quarterbacks are going to be licking their chops knowing in the first round they're going to get to see this Eagles defense and they're going to have a field day with them. But I think we're all well aware of that. It's enough beating that dead horse, It's the Eagles defense for you. They are what they are at this point in the time. Not much is going to change. So let me go talk about the offense now. Now, the offense I thought was very interesting today because for the most part, this Eagles offense has been supported by the rushing attack. The running attack has been the real reason why this Eagles offense has been very effective. And yet today it wasn't. Washington really wanted Jalen Hurts to beat them. And to be fair, Jalen Hurts was up to the challenge today. I didn't see Jalen Hurts be rusty at all today. I didn't see him needing to get into a rhythm. He came out in a rhythm. He came out ready to play. I was really impressed what I saw from Jalen Hurts today. Now, was he perfect? No, of course not. He didn't throw a touchdown today, but you know what? He didn't have any turnovers today either, which is an improvement from the previous weeks where he's had some turnovers. Now, the Eagles offense did struggle today, especially in the first half, but I feel some of that had to do more with play calling in situations rather than quarterback play or anything like that. For example, the first drive, the Eagles are driving, they're moving, they have a 4th and 2, and they decide to run it up the middle on a 4th and 2 with Jordan Howard, and it gets them nothing. Throughout that first drive, Jalen Hurts was making some plays. In that 4th and 2, I'm not doing a under center handoff to a running back or anything like that. I want to give Jalen Hurts an opportunity to make a play here. Give him a read option. Give him some sort of ability to make a play for himself. Because in that first drive, he was showing me he was making plays. So, okay, I want to see more of that. I want him to continue that. If he's hot, I'm going to give him the ball. And I feel like in this game, even in the second half, there were too many times where the Eagles went, we're just going to simply run it up the middle and see what happens. I felt like the Eagles got too conservative in this game. They got way too conservative. And when there was opportunities where I felt like Jalen Hurts could really put his stamp on the game, they really didn't let him do it. I mean, looking back on this game, 2 of the Eagles' touchdowns came on 4th and goals. The Eagles literally had 4 plays in the red zone in goal-to-goal situation, and it took them 4 plays to actually get in. And most of them were runs. I think they only called 1 pass in those situations. I think that's batty. Call a read option. Call something. Give Jalen Hurts an opportunity to make a play. I understand he's a young quarterback and you don't want to expose him in bad situations or whatnot, but part of learning if Jalen Hurts is going to be the quarterback is putting him in these situations and seeing what he can do. I want to see if Jalen can rise to the occasion. And if he can't, that gives me more information so I know I need to look in a different direction. But if I don't put him in that spot, I'm never going to know if he's going to be the guy or not. And to be fair, by all accounts, what I saw today, I felt like he rose to the occasion. He rose to the occasion when a lot of the team was still napping. Now, I will say this offensively as well. With the running game not being as potent as we've been used to seeing it, the Eagles relied on their other top 2 targets in Devontae Smith and Dallas Goedert, which is something I'd been begging for. These 2 are your best pass catchers. Feature them fully in your offense. They're your main weapons. Use them as your top targets. And there's been too many times this season where they've given Reagor too many looks or Quez too many looks. They've gotten too cute. Both today, Dallas Goedert and Devontae Smith were the Eagles' leading receivers. I think Goedert had 6 catches for about 70 yards. Devontae only had about 3 catches, but he had 50-plus yards. I want to say about 25 of them came on the first plays of the game. So the Eagles did something smart where they were really featuring their top weapons as their go-to guys, which they needed to do. I get it. Jalen Reagor was a first-round pick. You want to feature him. You want to give him opportunities to make plays and build his confidence. But the fact of the matter is, it's not happening. It hasn't worked all season. So stop doing it. Stop doing the same crap that gets you into trouble. Stop calling the same stupid end around that he doesn't know what to do with. Every time they call an end around to Jalen Reagor, he goes east and west, he doesn't take it up the field, and he loses 3-4 yards. Or hell, he loses 6 because he doesn't know what he's doing. There's too many times where Jalen Reagor just doesn't get the job done. And I'm tired of it. If he can't do it, don't put him in the game. But those are my thoughts on the offensive defense in this game. They weren't great. They weren't horrendous. But they did enough to get the job done. And that's what they needed. This was going to be a tough game. Washington was pissed off. They wanted to redeem themselves for the past weekend, embarrassed by Dallas, and they came out swinging, and the Eagles took their best hit, and they are able to deliver back, take the lead, and get the job done. And that's what the Eagles needed to do. It wasn't pretty, but they got the job done. And because they won, and then the Niners win, and then the Packers won tonight, the Eagles have officially clinched a playoff spot. So I do want to say this now. Congratulations to the Eagles. Congratulations, you guys. Good job making the playoffs. Now let's see what you can do once you're here. And this has become very interesting now because I think a lot of people have gotten comfortable with the idea that the Eagles, if they made the playoffs, their first round matchup was going to be against the Dallas Cowboys. That if they won, they would play Dallas this week, and then they play them again next week in Dallas in the first round of the playoffs. But with Dallas losing to the Cardinals today, that doesn't look like it's going to be the case. It looks like very possible they could be playing the Rams, they could be playing the Cardinals, they could be even playing Tampa in the first round of the wild card now. So, and these are teams the Eagles do have an ability to beat. Now, what I mean is, I'm not calling that the Eagles are going to win in the wild card first round, pull an upset, and go on a run. I'm not saying that. I'm saying I think they can match up well against these teams. Specifically, if the Eagles are healthy and they run the football, they can go ahead and pull off an upset. And the Eagles have been one of the top rushing teams in the NFL this season. Along with Jalen Hurts doing read options and making plays, the Eagles have an opportunity to upset somebody. Now, the biggest issue with that is the Eagles' defense. All three of those teams that I named all have beyond above average quarterbacks. One of which, who the Eagles have already played, and which quarterback named Tom Brady has already picked them apart. So, it is what it is. But at this point in time for the Eagles, they're a young team. I'm not expecting them to win a Super Bowl this year. I'm not even expecting them to really even make a run. The fact that they're in the postseason right now is a great thing because this team's ahead of the curve. They are retooling. They are trying to get better. But they're further along in that rebuild than we thought they would be right now. And a part of that retool is figuring out the quarterback position. And that brings me back to Jalen Hurts right now. And yay, he's led the Eagles to the playoffs. I mean, it's no longer can he or will he. He has officially led the Eagles to the playoffs. Yeah, he missed one game, but you know what? The rest of them were all him. So at this point in time, I think it's fair to say that you got to give Jalen Hurts another season after this. I mean, like him or hate him, he's done enough to earn another shot. He's done enough to get another crack at the job. And at this point, in my opinion, there's only two quarterbacks I would even throw Jalen Hurts away for, and that'd be Aaron Rodgers and a Deshaun Watson with no legal issues on him. Otherwise, I'm bringing Jalen Hurts back because there's no other reason why I wouldn't. He's done enough. He's led the team. The team rallies behind him. They like him. They're fighting for him, and Jalen Hurts has shown improvement. What more can I ask for at this point? And I will admit, I've been very tough on Jalen a lot, especially earlier in the season, where they weren't playing to his strengths, and he wasn't helping himself either. But you know what? They got it turned around. They got everything right. They're playing a much more complementary offense to both what the coaches want and what Jalen Hurts is able to do. And look at them now. They're 9-7, with a chance to maybe even go 10-7 next week. Which, that brings another interesting conundrum for the Eagles. What do you do about next week's game against Dallas and Philly? I've already heard a lot of people say, well, rest your starters. It's a meaningless game. Which, if this was an older team, I would understand that. But because the Eagles are so young right now, and we have so many unknowns on this team, I say you got to play everybody. You play your starters. If you are healthy enough to play, you play. And yeah, that brings up risk for injury in the playoffs. It does. But you have an opportunity of going up against Dallas, and we don't know what they're going to do yet. Maybe they play their starters, maybe they bench everybody. I don't know, I don't care. Because my mentality is, if they play any of their starters, I want to get my guys in playoff mentality now. Get them ready, because this is the type of talent you're going up against. Guess what? Quarterbacks you're going up against, you're not going against Jake Fromm anymore. You're not going against Taylor Heineke's. You're not going against Teddy Bridgewater's. You're going against Dak Prescott next week. And maybe the week after you'll be going against Kyler Murray or Matthew Stafford, depending on how everything shakes up. You're not playing these cupcake quarterbacks anymore. You're playing legitimate Pro Bowl quarterbacks now. And you got to get ready. You got to be prepared. Try a mock defense next week. See what happens. See what works. See what doesn't. You already saw everything you've done early in the season doesn't work. Now try something new. And for the offense and Jalen Hurts, you know what happened last time you played Dallas on Monday night in Dallas. Y'all got embarrassed. Now you get the chance to redeem yourselves. Now you get the chance to say, hey, you know what? You played us on Monday night back then. We weren't at our best. We are now. This is who we really are. Now we're going to show you. Now we're going to show you what the Philadelphia Eagles really are. And this will give you a little momentum going into the playoffs now. Get you feeling good. Get you going. You guys remember back a few years ago, I believe it was 2007 or 8. New England was going for an undefeated season. The Giants had nothing to play for. Both teams played their starters, and they played it to the end. It was a game that was decided in the fourth quarter, and Giants lost. You know what happened? The Giants rode that momentum and won the Super Bowl and beat that same undefeated New England team in the Super Bowl. So you never know what happens. You never know what playing somebody tough will let you figure out and realize, hey, maybe we can play with these guys. Maybe they're not as invincible as we think they are. And it gives you some motivation and confidence to go into the playoffs and, take some names. But those are my thoughts on the Eagles' Week 17 victory over the Washington football team, along with my thoughts on the Eagles clinching the playoffs and what they should and shouldn't do next week going against Dallas. With that, I hope you all had a wonderful New Year's. I hope you all got your resolutions ready, and hopefully we'll stick to them longer than I will. But with that, I want to thank you all for listening to the Process YouTube channel. If you like what I gotta say, please hit the like button. If you agree or disagree with anything I gotta say, please say so in the comment section below. And what's your opinion on what the Eagles should do next week? Do you think they should play their starters, or do you think they should bench everybody? Please let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. With that, I'll catch you all later. Peace.